Welcome to The Trail. I am really glad you're here. My name is Frank Stravinsky, and for 20 years I set out to create a resource that would help you engage more deeply with the ancient texts found in the Bible. One of the unique features of The Trail is that we have tried to balance the time you spend reading each day while still keeping the stories of the Bible together, as opposed to perhaps going chapter by chapter or from beginning to end. We tried to use the natural breaks found in the original languages of the Bible as our guide. So a good start to using the trail is to take a few moments and read through the introduction. Here you will find a kind of roadmap, or maybe a trail map, to guide you in how this resource was put together. When we began to organize the readings, we started off by looking at the New Testament. We ordered the New Testament to begin with Luke and Acts, mostly because these were written to Gentiles in the first century. We then followed up on that by looking at the development of the early church through Paul's writings in particular, and then moving through the rest of the letters. We end with the books that have a more Jewish context, Matthew and Hebrews. So when you reach the end of the New Testament, you'll have read most of the Old Testament and will have that background to help you identify some key insights. After we put together the New Testament, we went back and added sections for the Old Testament and the Apocrypha. You'll find a second set of readings each day from the Pentateuch or the Torah. These are the first 5 books of Moses, Genesis through Deuteronomy. Then we've grouped together the prophets and writings, which include books like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Micah, and then the Psalms and Proverbs and so forth. Now we also included the Apocrypha. Now the Apocrypha is not in the Protestant canon, but it will be familiar to those in the Catholic and Orthodox traditions. You can choose to read it, or you can choose not to. In fact, that is one of the beauties of the trail. It's your trail. So you can go through just the New Testament, or maybe the New Testament and the Torah. Or you can read the New Testament, the Torah, and then the prophets and writings. Or you can do the whole thing. It's really up to you. Each day in the trail, there are several components. The first is a centering prayer, and this is to help you focus your mind and your thoughts so you can just spend some time with God's Word today. After that, you'll see the readings. Here you'll have between 2 and 5 readings for each day. So again, if you want to read just the New Testament, you would read in this case Luke 1, verses 26 through 56. Or if you wanted to add the Torah to your reading, you would then add Genesis 2 to your daily reading. And you keep going along this path. You'll also notice that we've tried to keep the historical context of different events together. So for example, if you're reading in 2 Kings and learning about the history of Israel during that period, you'll find readings attached to that day which come from Isaiah or Jeremiah, for example. So when you're reading a particular historical period, you'll have everything in one place. Now on the other side of the page, you'll find a couple more sections. One is to record distractions. For example, if you're reading along and you remember something important that you have to do later in the day, just jot it down in this section and then put it aside, knowing you can come back to it later. The insights section are things that maybe connect with you that day or something that was important to you. And then the questions section are for things that you may want to research later or want to ask a question about. So instead of getting stuck on a particular verse or a thought, you can assign those for another period of time. The trail is designed to help you engage with the Bible. Additionally, we do offer more in-depth studies for individuals and groups. Our first is called Toward the Horizon, Exploring Matthew, and you can learn more about these study resources on our website, purpose-press.com. Now there you'll also find additional resources, including prayer journals and books for children, and be looking for additional resources in months to come. We hope that you'll join us here each day on the podcast as we begin the trail together. And once again, welcome to the trail.